Okay, we're back for another episode of Poe and the Community Speaks. This is y'all show. Y'all could come on the show and talk. You know, everybody has their own opinion, and respectfully, they can have it. This is our show. So, just sit back, relax, and listen or participate. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever one applies to you. So let's start. First, I gotta go to check my YouTube and see if everything's set up so we can have a great show. Let me see. It's loading. It's loading. We good. All right. All right. We good. Yeah. Lamont Davis in the house. Appreciate you, man, showing up. Y'all been here every day. I really appreciate y'all, man. Really appreciate y'all. Got some things I want to discuss. I say this every day. I got things I want to discuss. You know, hopefully we get AJ in here. But I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me see how I want to start this show off. Yeah, let me just get to it. Let me just get to it. All right. Boxing games deserve better than this era. They deserve better than what we get in this era of technology and with developers not having jobs and stuff. We could have an incredible game. We could have the best game ever made. Even though Steel City trying to hold that, they can't hold that. You scammed us with, you gave us one thing and then you switched out for something else. I know the show is always about Undisputed, but Undisputed is it's gonna like kind of be the topic, even though I got other topics I want to talk about. But this show is built on we want Undisputed to be better. We want a boxing game to be better. We want companies to hear what we want. That's why I'm gonna start incorporating my wish list into the show. So I was doing some research on stuff. Everybody always get at me about where did you get this information from? It's like sometimes the way they ask where did I get the information from, like where's your proof and stuff. That's basically how they're saying it because they don't want Steel City to be accountable. They don't want Will Kinsler to be accountable. They don't want Ash Habib to be accountable. Nobody's off limits. I'm getting that Steel City the same way I was getting that EA, the same way I was getting that 2K, the same way I was getting that any company that's making a game. Nobody is off limits. People fall in love with these companies and they will give them nothing. All right, let me read this. Boxing games deserve better than this era. When people look at Undisputed, they ask, what's really at fault? I mean, they ask, who's really at fault? Was it Ash Habib? Was it Will Kinsler? Or what? Or was it the publisher, the investors, the whole system? Let me break it down. Will Kinsler may have been holding the controller in terms of advising on authenticity and gameplay mechanics. He gave guidance on how the game should feel, what systems should work, and what punches should land the way a real boxer would expect. But here's the thing. He didn't press the buttons. Yeah, he did. He pressed the buttons. Will Kinsler hold more control than people giving him credit for. He guided Ash. He actually guided him into the wall that he's dealing with now, with the publishers, the investors, and the shareholders. That's the wall that Will drove him into. Will actually answers to the publisher, the investors, and the shareholders. Not to Ash. He go back and tell Ash what they want and what they see is appropriate for the game. These guys that probably never picked up a remote control or played a boxing game. They probably don't even know the how the community thinks. My thing is, I would love to sit down with one of these shareholders, the publisher, or investors. I would love to sit down with them. But I know how they're going to talk. It might get a little heated. But let me get back to this. That's where Ash Habib comes in. He was steering the ship. He signed off on decisions. He chose what to implement. He bore the final decision. No, he bore the final responsibility for the product. If the game fell off, or systems weren't working, or features were half-baked, that's on Ash. Nah, it's not. It's not. It really is not. Ash don't know anything about the industry. Ash is learning on the job. That's why he's in the predicament he's in. Ash is in the predicament he in because he felt if he got investors, but he didn't do his research. He felt if he had shareholders, he wasn't doing his research. This whole thing could have been alleviated if he got sponsors. Sponsors get rid of all them investors and publishers and everything. He could have been his own publisher. That's what he wanted. Ash wanted to be the publisher of the game. He didn't want investors. He didn't want he didn't want a publisher or none of that. I spoke to him. And this one thing, I'm not lying. Whoever been here from day one, as far as when it comes to the Discord and on Twitter and all that, they know that I was having conversations with Ash. It's a lot of things I didn't really want to speak about and put them out there like that, but people pushing me against the wall. Let me see. Then add the publishers and investors into the mix. Deadlines, funding, milestone pressures. They push from the outside. They don't make the creative calls, but they can force compromise that trickle down and amplify problems. Everyone has a piece of the puzzle, sure, but the ultimate responsibility rolls up to the studio head that has 51% of stock. 51%. Imagine if just somebody bought 2 more percentages of the stock of the company. Ash would be really working for them, which he's doing now. Because if you got to go back and talk to somebody, even though you're the head of it and they're puppeteering you, they're in control. I don't care what people are saying. Whoever controls the money is in control. The publisher, Ash got to see what the publisher wants. Ash got to see what the investors want. They're in control. It's common sense. But everybody want to be like, it's Ash's problem. I want to blame whoever it is that's steering this game the wrong way. Yes, Ash has responsibility. But I'm going to attack the person that's holding the remote control, not the person that's controlled. Okay, so when you look at Undisputed, it's not as simple as blaming one person. It's a perfect storm of leadership choices, outside pressures, and decisions that nobody dared question. Ash signs off. See, I just said that. Ash signs off, but the echoes of everyone else, Will's advice, publishers' deadlines, investors' expectations, all in the wreckage. They all in part of that wreckage. So when you hear that, see, Will advice, right? The publisher's deadlines, investors' expectations. That doesn't sound like Ash is in control, because he wouldn't have to get advice from Will Kinsler. He wouldn't have to worry about deadlines. He controls the deadlines. He wouldn't have to control, I mean, he wouldn't have to worry about expectations, because he already had his own expectations. In short, Will held the controller, but Ash drove the car and it crashed. All right, let me see. Let me see what y'all saying, because I got a couple of things I want to read off. What's up, I'm Precisely One? Yeah, nobody's not trying to push Ash out the equation, but if you don't know something and you depend on other people, they're at fault. Ash is at fault because he listened. He allowed himself to be in that position. But we have to, or I got to attack the people that's holding the controller, not Ash. Ash, to me, he's out of the equation to me, because he don't really have power. Like people keep saying, it's Ash's decision. If it's Ash's decision and Ash don't listen to those investors and the shareholders, this game will he can't support this game. They can sue him. So Ash is not in control. If he make his own decisions without them and they can sue him, Ash is not in control. Facts. Do your research. A lot of people be always getting at me about research. Do your research. Stop just looking for a chance to disagree with what I'm saying. I don't gain anything from what I say. I don't get paid for YouTube. I don't get paid for TalkShoe. I'm not a teenager or a person that needs, to get validated for what I say. I don't care about that stuff. There's plenty of times I could have let myself be bought out and follow the narrative. But no, it's not me. I got morals. I know what's right and what's not right. I know what I want in a boxing game. All right, let's be honest. This era of boxing video games is embarrassing. I don't care how you feel about Fight Night Champion and Fight Night Round 3, Fight Night Round 4. Some of y'all try to attach me to Fight Night Round 4 because I went to the community event and all that different stuff. But Fight Night Round 4 is not what I saw. But that's neither here or there. But fans, the era of boxing video games is with the technology. If y'all did y'all research and saw the technology and y'all ask questions and you say, Well, I want this in a boxing video game. And the developers say it can't be in a video game. Do your research. Every time it would tell you it can be done. Those are development decisions that they don't. Hey, we don't want to go that long. It might take us 12. It might. They're not sure. Just like they told us about the clinching. I keep repeating the clinching and stuff. They did that on purpose. It was definitely on purpose. All right, let me get back to this. Let's be honest. This era of boxing video game is embarrassing. And the worst part is that the disrespect is happening in the most technological advanced time in gaming history. You heard that? The most technological advanced time in gaming history. Research. We had boxing games for 45 years. Anything that's been around for that long should be pristine. It should be the best thing ever. It should look way better than what we've been getting. The very first console boxing game, literally called Boxing, dropped in 1979. And I'm going to tell you my age. I was 9 at that time. So that means I was alive when the first boxing game was made. And stop calling me old man. I'm okay with that. But stop calling me old man. Since then, we've seen over 60 boxing games come and go. And when I say 60, that's short form. Far as when I say 60, those are the console games. But there are more games like VR and everything. It's more than 60 on console too. There's a legacy. 60, that's a legacy. That's a foundation. That's a whole lineage of developers who actually cared. Developers that came before Steel City, that made blueprints to other boxing games that they could have made better. So all that excuse, this is our first game, that applies to 1979. That applies to EA when they made Knockout Kings, the first Knockout Kings. They had something. EA had something that came before it, but nothing like what they had. Now, when Undisputed used that excuse, they don't have that excuse. You got Prize Fighter, you got the Knockout Kings, you got the Fight Nights. You got all these boxing games that they had that came before it, but they keep using this is our first game. But you're making the same game that they're made. You're not making a unique game. You're not making a whole different genre. All right. We had Mike Tyson Punch-Out, a cultural landmark in 1984. I know it's arcade, but I'm building up to something. We have Punch-Out, a cultural landmark in 1984. And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in 1987. Still iconic to this day. We had Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing in 1992. Pushing simulation before simulation was even a buzzword. Pushing simulation according to the mechanics that they had, the technology that they had. We had the boxers branded wave, Foreman, Ali, Bo, Roy Jones Jr., fighters whose name meant something, who gangs respected their identities. Then the golden era hit. Knockout Kings, and then the undisputed king of the genre, the Fight Night series. Fight Night wasn't perfect, but it understood something these modern era this modern era clearly does not. If you're going to make a boxing game, you better respect boxing. They pretending to respect boxing. Steel City. That's what I'm talking about right now. They do not respect boxing. And they hypnotizing the industry to make them think that they respect boxing. That, of course, people put up posters, they put up videos and stuff like that. That don't mean you're a boxing fan. I've seen it numerous times. Then the golden era, hold up. Then the golden era hit, Knockout Kings, then I read all that. If you're going to make a boxing game, you better respect boxing. Not sell it, not cosplay it, respect it. Steel City is they're acting like they respect boxing. It's probably like it's only probably like 5% in the in their whole company that are boxing fans. They probably trying to pretend they're boxing fans. But you could tell when a person that has a sports mind make a game, it's different. It has a different feel to it. If you look at most of the sports games that were made, there's a different feel to it because they're sports fans. Steel City don't have, their thing is, all right, they don't have developers that are boxing fans. You bring boxers in there. No, not CB, and no disrespect, Jay Shep, you my guy. I'm talking about boxers that been in the sport for decades, amateurs and stuff, coaches and stuff like that could break down boxing. I boxed for over 12 years. It's a lot of things about boxing I can't like break down. I can, but I can't. Because when it comes to boxing, everybody has their own vision, their own thoughts. It's plenty of times. I've been around George Benton, if anybody knows who George Benton is. I've been around Lou Duva. I've been around a lot of boxing like coaches and stuff like that. And the conversations is, if they're arguing, that means they don't agree with stuff. And that's the thing. Everybody don't think alike. It's certain things. Every boxer doesn't box alike. And that's one thing I'm trying to get is breaded in people's mind. Because they think every boxer supposed to box a certain way. That's not how boxing is. Everybody don't fight like Joe Frazier. Everybody doesn't fight like Roy Jones. Everybody don't fight like Muhammad Ali. Stop trying to force them to fight certain ways in a boxing game. Ask for mechanics in the game that will help you defeat anything they do. Because it's times when I even sparred, a person came in there blazing, throwing punches, all types of punches. And me, a lot of times you can't get into that. They're throwing punches. Now your ego might jump out, and you might try to go punch for punch, and that's an idiot. My ego one time, I let this guy who was taller than me, because with me, I'm short. I'm 5'11", and I was sparring a lot of guys taller than me. And my ego got to me. I let a guy start blazing. He was throwing punch, boom, boom, boom. I was blocking him. But being that he was blazing, I was like, throwing all these punches. I was like, he looking good on me. He making everybody think I'm getting beat up on. Now I'm going, I'm trying to like throw punches at him, hard punches at him. And me going wild, which I knew better. He clipped me. Now I'm on Bambi legs. I like, Dad, going, I got clipped. And I didn't even realize. I'm like, yo, I feel my legs like vibrating and stuff. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Now I got to clinch him. And then reality kicked in. I had to fight him. I got to fight him different. Start beating him to the body. And he quit. Which I should have did from the giddy up. But my ego. That's what's going on with Steel City. A lot of people in that studio have egos. Ego. I'll say egos. Egos. Sound weird to me. All right, let me see what's going on. I don't want to abandon the YouTube group. Let me see who popped in. Facts. The whole first game is just a cop-out excuse. It is. Appreciate you, J Hooks, for popping in. J Hooks to the full. Yeah, the whole first game is an excuse. They can't use that as an excuse. Like I always say, once they got past a year, no, I give them 2 years because the COVID. Because they start making this game and not in 2020. They made it before 2020. So they made it a year before. So they had literally 6 years to make this game. COVID stopped some things, but they were still in the studio. I know that for a fact. So all these billions of excuses, that's one thing I always tell companies. A lot of companies be telling me stuff, and sometimes they tell me too much. Don't tell me everything, and then you get in a certain situation. Now I'm starting to, hey, I know stuff. They're lying to you. This can be done. That can be done. So it's crazy. It's a lot of things people accept that these companies giving them, and they're not truth. All right, let me see. Then the golden era hit, Knockout Kings. Then the undisputed king of the genre is Fight Night series. Fight Night wasn't perfect, but it understood something the modern era clearly does not. If you're going to make a boxing game, you better respect boxing. Not sell it, not cosplay it, respect it. Japan gave us Boxers Road and Boxers Road 2 with systems some studios still haven't matched. See what I'm saying? Studios still didn't match what Boxers Road has in it. Ash had an idea to try to match that, but he got people on the team that said, Ash, your ideas are over ambitious. If I was Ash, I said, if you don't get your butt out my company, out of my view, leave, go. Because I don't need that negativity around me. I know what I want. All right. With systems, some studios still haven't matched. Weight cuts. Do we really have weight cuts in undisputed camps, training camps? I think all that is tech sim. Tendencies, not at all. Not at all. Boxer Road had tendencies way back then. They had tendencies. I've been talking about tendencies since Boxers Road, before 2K had tendencies, capabilities, and all that stuff. Not saying that I'm the author of that stuff, but I've been a part of the NBA 2K, the NBA Live community, and I've been pushing that narrative hard. Might not be me, but I want it to be a part of me with boxing. I don't care about all the other stuff. All right. Even arcade, let me read it again. They had tendencies and consequences. Even arcade style games like Black and Bruce had style and heart. Even Don King Presents Prize Fighter swung for the fences. They had a lot of things in there that, that could have been refined and the company could have took that stuff. And now we're in the empty promise era. We're in the empty promise era. The patch it later era. The marketing first, gameplay last era. We're in the marketing first, gameplay last era. If you don't notice, Steel City is a marketing machine. They got more marketing people on their team than actual developers, which is crazy. Their thing is they're trying to capture people globally. And I told them, and I was saying, they didn't need to get marketing. It's common sense. You got to get the Japanese, the Asian market. You got to get the American market, the African market. Yes, they do have video games in Africa. Stop letting society mold what Africa look like. It's like you're looking at one city in America that's very bad looking, but the rest of America is beautiful. But back on topic. Then you got people from Germany and everything. So that's something one person could have did. I've been pushing that narrative from even with Round for Round. You got to put boxes in the game that's German. That's marketing. Then you start talking to people from Germany that can help you push that narrative. From Russia. All these things already were pushing, but you're going to hire probably 20 people for marketing. Ash's daughter is the head is marketing. Then they got a person that's an investor marketing. They got all these people for marketing for a broken game. It's like you're going to get 7 people to help you sell a broken car at a dump yard. Yo, that's crazy. Studios today act like they're doing fans a favor by dropping a half-finished boxing game. They act like motion capture replaces understanding the sport. They act like graphics make up the lack of footwork. No, Undisputed had great footwork. But the footwork that we have now is not the footwork we had in the beginning. You heard that? The footwork we have now is not the footwork we had in the beginning. It's different. You can't create angles like we used to. They act like, let me read it again because I got off track. I apologize. They act like graphics make up for lack of footwork, logic, stamina systems, or ring IQ. See that? I don't want to read it again because I already read it again. They talk about realism without having any idea what realism looks like in the ring. And they trying to move away from that word. Authenticity. Look it up. Because you could push the narrative of what authenticity is. I could give you an authentic broken game. Long as it looks like what boxing is, that's authentic. But does it behave like boxing? You got to follow the words they use. I'm from the hood. I know when people are scamming you. And me saying I'm from the hood, that's not it's not like I'm trying to act like it's something major. They talk about realism without having an idea of what realism looks like in the ring. This era gives us no real career mode depth, no meaningful rankings, no proper defensive mechanics. I always say that. I always say that to y'all. The game doesn't have proper defensive mechanics. They keep nerfing and doing certain things, and that's what shows me that certain people are not really boxing fans. And sometimes some of the boxing fans, they letting the casual fans control the narrative. No, let them learn boxing. Stop letting them control what boxing should be. They nerfing everything that's realistic. And they're not asking for things that will make, that they could defend against it. So let me read this one more time to the people in the back row. No proper defensive mechanics. No boxing tendencies or archetypes. I know people be saying archetypes is like metas. But certain that's why I'm saying, when people saying, you can't put Deontay Wilder in the game the way he really is because people gonna always pick him and choose him. I said the word twice, I know. But they're gonna always choose him. That's not always true because Deontay Wilder lost. You can emulate those things in a boxing game if they were put in the game correctly. If they put Deontay Wilder in the ring the way he's supposed to be, and I was using another boxer, even a creative boxer, I would not give Deontay Wilder momentum for his punches. I would be close. I would fight close with against Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder have to have extension and momentum to hit you. Even though there's sometimes he hit people with short punches and knocked them out. But you have a better chance fighting them from the inside. We don't have that in this game. A lot of people pretend they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. This era gives us no inside fighting. It's literally basically what I was saying. The inside fighting, people always make it up. Oh, we got inside fighting. No, you don't. You just close up on the guy. And it's not inside fighting because it's more technique to inside fighting. And I know a lot of people gonna be like, oh, I gotta get at Poe. He's a boxer, so I gotta show him that he's wrong. Talking to the wrong person. This era gives us no gym culture. You heard that? No gym culture. We were supposed to have that in the game. Who remember that video when we showed a boxer walking around the gym? That's not in the game. Or am I wrong? Because I haven't played the game in quite a long time. Can you walk around in the gym? That he wanted an RPG element to the game. You should be able to walk to different gyms. You should be able to do certain things, hit the punching bag and stuff. RPG element. Let me see. This era gives us no fighter evolution. Y'all saying, what is evolution? Boxers like really progression, like real progression. Like, so suppose a boxer, you got a boxer in a certain gym with a certain trainer. He's going to learn what that trainer teaches him. But you might not like what he's teaching you. It's not useful. Or you might say, ask that trainer. You might they fix it that way that you can ask the trainer and say, maybe this fight you should team up with such and such. Depending on the way they program the trainer. And he'll say, no, I'm not. That's crazy. But those are options that should be in a boxing game. My mind's always thinking about boxing ideas. I know a lot of people always be trying to knock it down, but I'm always thinking ideas for boxing games. I got billion-dollar thoughts, but nobody listening. That's a bar. No respect for this era gives us no respect for the sport's history. The game, they don't respect the sport. I don't care what they be saying or showing on YouTube or what they're showing on Twitter, X, or what they're showing on Instagram or Facebook. They have no respect for the sport. I could literally guarantee you, if I was part of the studio, even though I don't care to be a part of the studio, I would have did better marketing and production for boxing with a boxing mind. I would have had better interviews. Oh, I seen an interview that Ralph was what's his name? I forget his name. It's something Ralph. He's a commentator. He was interviewing the referee. And I hate when I forget these referees. But he was Kenny Bailey's. He was interviewing Kenny Bailey's. You're not asking the right questions. I would ask questions boxing and boxing gaming. I would ask them, why did you let them disrespect you in the game? Why didn't you let them really do motion capture? It's the industry has the technology. You should have been in the game. You should be pushing for them to put you in the game better. You should be implemented better in the game. Let me see what y'all saying. Let me see. you called the whim. A lot of those bad mechanics are Wilm's bad ideas. They are, because isn't he's the head of that part of the game? Those his ideas. And if people keep saying Ash got to sign off for he responsible. No, Ash trusts Will ideas. Ash trusts Will from being in the industry, even though Will was basically what I was. He was a little above me. I was supposed to get the job that Will had, but I talked too much. I couldn't be controlled. But Will never held a development job, but they put him in a development setting. They gave him a job as a developer. He's not a developer. And I'm not hating on him, but I'm hating on him because he's messing up this game. What's up, Steel City Boxing? I appreciate you popping in. I don't see how Steel City survives, especially if EA and Turkey drop the new Fight Night champion. If they drop the new Fight Night, I wonder is Fight Night Forever is going to like kill off Steel City? I mean, is it going to kill off Undisputed? And I think by the time that Claimer Uncut puts his game out, we're going to be into Undisputed 2, if that happens. because the way that things are going, we don't know if that's going to really happen now. I'm really looking forward to the new boxing game that's being developed. Yeah, you talking about Claimers Uncut video. Let me see. Some of these projects feel like boxing games made by people who have never watched a full fight, a full boxing match, let alone study one. Exactly. My thing is, you can actually sit there, even a child could do it, sit there and look at the sport, study the sport, and say, well, does that look like what that character is doing in the boxing ring? Their thing is they're just doing what they feel is right to them. They creating a fighting game. Even when it comes to EA UFC, they have UFC people on the team. UFC fighters come in the studio. Steel City pushed the boxers out. They pushed them out. It's crazy. Sonny Edwards not there. What's the other boxer? I forget. I don't know. Usually I forget Sonny Edwards, but I remember him today. Sonny Edwards not in the studio. Sonny Edwards wanted this game to succeed. Sonny Edwards was like walking distance, he said. Josh Taylor, he's not in the studio. Ben Davison, the trainer, he's not in the studio. So my thing is, you need those people, like you need boxers and trainers. I can train a boxer. And I know a lot of y'all saying, well, Paul, if you could train boxers, why you're not training boxers? Because I have my reasons. Just went to a gym, 2 weeks ago, and I got offered the job to be a trainer. But I have responsibilities. And like I said, I told the story, I have a PTSD from being in gyms because my uncle was my trainer and my brother was my trainer. Both of them no longer are here. And that bothers me because before my brother passed away, we were going to open a gym. He told me, said, when I retire from the police force, we opening a gym. And, that bothers me. A lot of people say, well, you should be around boxers, probably make you feel better and stuff. I did feel good when I went to the gym, but still I got other responsibilities. I take care of my mother too, and I'm married. All right. Some of these projects feel like boxing games made by people who never watched a full fight, let alone studied one. And that's the problem. If developers from the 80s could deliver classics with 8-bit controllers, if EA could build Fight Night Champion on 2011 hardware, if Japanese studios simulated weight cutting in 2006, what excuse do modern studios have? None. Zero. Not one. We're in the strongest hardware generation ever. You hear that? We're in the strongest hardware generation ever. I did my research. Do your research, because a lot of people push nowhere in the world. They got all this technology and stuff, and they're not doing what we want to put in the game. That's their decisions. That's on purpose. You think they're gonna give us everything when they got other people telling them not to? Stop trying to disagree. I want a real boxing game. I have nothing against Steel City, but I have something against Steel City. I have nothing against any company that's making a boxing game, but I have to tell the truth. I have to give my opinion about stuff because I want a successful boxing game. Still, I mean, Undisputed wasn't successful. It was successfully a con game. They conned us. They switched the game. They literally switched the game on us right before our eyes, and people accepted. Let me see. We're in the strongest generation of ever, and somehow people produce the weakest boxing games in decades. You hear that? And somehow these companies are producing the weakest boxing games in decades. You always got people that's glazing. No, man, Undisputed did this better than Mike Tyson Punch Out. Come on, man. The fact is, look how long ago that game was made. And look at modern era with the technology that we have. People really don't understand how much technology out there. You know, there's flying cars. There really are cars that can fly. But it wouldn't be ethical, or it wouldn't make sense, because you know how people do. If everybody had an electric car, I mean a flying car, you know how many accidents we will have of people just driving around not charging up their cars, or doing different things like putting gas or whatever in there. They wait till the last minute, because you got idiots that will do that. But it's so many. We got so much technology nowadays. So much technology. Some of it actually replacing us. That's a different story. So here's the message. If you're going to make a boxing game in 2025 and beyond, study the history. I was a big advocate for that. That's like, when I talk to anybody or somebody, even I was talking to EA developers, we used to have conversations, deep conversations. That's why when people be like looking at me sideways and stuff, say, I used to talk to the developers all the time. They had respect for me. That, of course, the rest of the team people didn't talk to the developers. I did. I always reached out to the developers. They love my passion. They love my passion. They said if you were a talented developer, boy, you'll be rich. And I agree. All right, let me see. Look at the 40 plus years of boxing games. Learn the sport. Learn the details. Learn the craft. Respect the fans. Exactly. Respect the fans. Respect the fighters. Respect the boxers. I hate saying fighters for boxers. For a boxer. MMA fighters, they're fighters. Even though boxers can fight, that's the slugfest type stuff. Slugging and brawling, that's fighting. That can be considered fighting. But boxing was always boxing. And people always try to change the words that's comfortable to them. All right. Respect the fans, respect the fighters, respect the legacy. Because every now, this era isn't just dropping because right now, this era is dropping the ball. It's respecting everything boxing games used. Hold up. It's disrespecting everything boxing games used to stand for. It's disrespectful. I always say that. Steel City is disrespectful. I knew they was disrespectful when they said this is a boxing game made by boxing fans for boxing fans. Then I start asking questions. That's when you literally they had the developers in the Discord. Aimbot said he wasn't a boxing fan. So if Aimbot doing the coding, what are you talking about? Aimbot like the most important part of this equation. He's the coder. So what are you talking about? And then come to find out, at that time, even Aimbot said it. I hate to put him out there like that. He said this team is not full of boxing fans at all. You probably get two people that's on the team that say they're boxing fans, 2 or 3. So the whole thing was a scam. When we talk about Undisputed Soul the way it did, it wasn't just because boxing fans were in a drought. If the drought alone could sell a game, every boxing title that dropped after Fight Night Champion would have blown up. They didn't. And I know y'all saying, there were boxing games that came out after Fight Night Champion? Yes, there did. There was quite a few. I mean, a couple that came out after Fight Night Champion. And nobody jumped on it. They didn't jump on it the way they jumped on Undisputed, ESBC Undisputed. You know why? Because they saw the vision. They saw what Fight Night, ESBC was going to be or what it could have been. All right, let me finish reading this. If the drought alone could sell a game, every boxing title that dropped after Fight Night Champion would have blown up. And they didn't. Fans were going to support anything with gloves on it. No, fans were not going to support anything with gloves on it. So that excuse that people keep using, the drought, it was a drought. That's why they got 1 million views. That's why it sold over 1 million copies. Nah, if that was the case, those games that came out after Fight Night Champion would have sold well. They didn't sell well at all. What really pushed Undisputed was that it looked like it was going to be What really pushed Undisputed was what it looked like it was going to be. Okay. Those early ESBC trailers and the alpha gameplay feature video sold the idea of a true grounded boxing simulation. Now, I know when people hear that word simulation, they think about over the top, extreme things. You gotta breathe certain ways, and you gotta make your chest pump in and out a certain way. No, stop being extreme. Because when you do that extreme stuff, you're doing it on purpose. You're trying to knock down from what you know fans want. We want the sport replicated accurately. Okay. Grounded features. Hold on, let me read it one more time because I always get distracted. Those early SBC trailers and the official gameplay feature video sold the idea of a true grounded boxing simulation. Something fans have never actually gotten before. Stop saying the Fight Night games were simulation or realistic. They were not. You're just playing it to make it look realistic. For one, you're sliding, you're skating. Even not seen in the Fight Night Forever. They're skating. That's skate 2. That's skate 3. Or skate 4, whatever it is. That's what it is. Real footwork, real movement, real pacing. It looked like the game people had been imagining for over a decade. Well over a decade. So the drought made people pay attention. There's paying attention to everything that was being made, round for round. There's paying attention to Hard Knocks Night. They're paying attention to Project Boxing, Tactical Boxings. They're paying attention to all these little games. So the drought made people pay attention, but the vision made people buy. Fans, when I say the vision, the game, I mean the video, made people buy it. Fans didn't purchase the game they eventually got. They purchased the game they thought was coming. Facts. And that combination, hunger plus hope, is what moved over 1 million copies. The debate over championship. Oh, this is a different topic altogether. And I want to talk about it. Let me see what y'all talking about before I get into this. Let me see. 6 years to make it. 3 years to scrap and start from scratch to fix it. Just to put out a game with bad connections and mechanics. A lot of those bad mechanics are Williams' bad ideas. I don't see how Steel City survives, especially if EA and Turkey drop the new Fight Night champion. I'm really looking forward to the new boxing game. J Hook said ESBC was finished and Will Kinsler changed it. J Hook said, according to Sports Gaming Analysis. What's up, Pound for Pound? What's up, Leafy? All right, let me see. This is, I won't call it an argument. It was like a debate that I was having yesterday about boxing belts, the belts. The debate over one championship belt in boxing. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, a lot of people had this argument, but they're not talking about it from a boxer's perspective. All these people that are fans of boxing, they're not thinking about the boxers. They're thinking about themselves. Their thing is, we don't even know who the champion is. Yes, you do. Stop. Y'all want boxing to be structured like the UFC. There's actually more boxers, way more boxers than UFC fighters. But y'all want boxing to be structured like the UFC. I can't see boxing lasting that long. Let me go into this. The debate over one championship belt in boxing. The one true champion idea. Some fans and purists argue that having a single world championship per weight class will reduce confusion and clearly define who's the best fighter is. Now, let me talk about that. So, if you got 100 or 200 boxers that's in the heavyweight division, you hear me? 200 boxers in the heavyweight division, or that same amount in other divisions. You know how long it will probably take for that person that's the 100 in that weight class to get an opportunity with one belt, and he has to stand out. You have a better chance with multiple belts. And to a lot of people, it looked great that you beat another good fighter that won a belt in his division. So a person that's an IBF, he beat some of that 100 boxers. And you beat some of that 100 boxers. And somebody else in the WBC, he beat some of the boxers, like the top boxers in that group of 100 boxers. Now y'all understand what I'm saying, or y'all don't? Because y'all think is, no, they should just fight. They know what they were signing up for. No, a lot of these boxers, see, y'all talking from the perspective of an outsider. Y'all don't have nothing to lose. A lot of y'all going to work every day, even though some boxers work. But a lot of boxers that work, that takes away from their skill level in boxing. That takes away from their training. People don't understand that. And then they're getting sometimes you ain't even getting base amount of money. Do you know how much money I got? Dad, you know how much money I got for my first boxing match? I was a decorated amateur. I should have been getting thousands. For my first 4-rounder fight, I got $600. That was a slap in my face. But y'all don't care. You know what you signed up for. No, I didn't sign up for no $600. Then here comes the promoter. Well, you got the cut man and you got your training, your sparring partners and stuff like that. I just turned pro. Why am I worrying about them people? And you know my check is going to be small. Y'all don't care about the boxers. A lot of people, they don't care. They have that Roman mentality. They don't care about these boxers. They pretend they do. They don't care about these boxers. To me, it looks better when, because I had in the amateurs, I won belts in the amateurs. I won the state championship 3 times, 3 belts. So I have 3 belts. If they had, it was some type of way they had it the way that boxing is today, I would have liked it, because now I'm fighting for other belts. I'm collecting belts. I'm beating the top people in that promotion, that the WBC, that top fighter, the top fighter and such and such. A lot of people don't see it that way because they want to see it the way that benefits them. They don't care. That's why a lot of people don't care when a boxer get hurt. They don't donate. So a lot of these people need to be quiet. A lot of these so-called commentators, these YouTube commentators need to shut up and sit down. I'm guaranteeing you within about, I'm going to say about 6 months, somebody that y'all know, somebody is going to hurt him. Because he talks too much. He say things and then try to talk slick like he didn't. He be trying to bow down when he around them. No, be that same person. Be that same person to the boxer when you're in their face. All right, the one true champion idea. Some fans and purists argue that having a single championship per weight class will reduce confusion and clearly define who the best fighter is. That happens even with the 3 belts. In theory, it makes unification fights unnecessary and simplify the narrative for casual viewers. And you got hardcore fans with this same mentality. We don't even have the same rules in boxing that they had in the 1 belt era. We don't even have that. Spring water, I do not drink. Not even soda. All right. Practical challenges. A single belt creates a bottleneck. You heard that? A single belt creates a bottleneck. One fighter can hold it and the challengers must climb the ranks to get a bottle. To get a shot. A boxer ranked 100 could take years, maybe even a decade, to reach a title shot. Divisions can stagnate if the champion is inactive due to injury, negotiations, or personal reasons. Impact on, let me see it. There, go on. I don't know why my screen acting up on me. All right. Impact on opportunities and careers. Multiple belts allow more fighters to claim championships, gain exposure, and even higher purses. See, y'all defending people like Dana White that want to come into boxing because Dana White is notorious for not paying his fighters. Not all of them. He have certain fighters that he pay a lot of money, and some he doesn't. He's notorious for that. Let me read that again. One organization with a single belt could dominate rankings, matchmaking, and revenue streams. It could favor certain fighters, promoters. See, you heard that? It could favor certain fighters, promoters, and regions, leaving others with little leverage or opportunities. Do y'all research before y'all agree to something y'all think y'all like. And it's for that so-called YouTuber that think he's way no boxing. Wait till I get into the gym and show y'all how to really throw punches. No shade, but it's shade. And he knows what I'm angry about. It has nothing to do with this. It go deeper. Critics argue this could make the sport less about merit and more about organizational politics. It could and it can't, because it still would be arguing if it was a one belt era. If we only had one belt, there would still be arguments. 100, 200 boxers. That person in the 100 ranking say that he had 10 fights and all of them was knockouts. But there are people that's up in the rankings. That don't guarantee he moves up into the top 20 and the top 10, because there's people with more experience and stuff like that. People don't understand. They don't understand how boxing is. Okay. Let me see. While one belt sounds clean, it risks concentration power, reducing opportunities and slowing career progress. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking like a boxer. I'm talking like a person that boxed, that been around boxers. A lot of these casual fans, they will make the worst managers. They will make the worst promoters. They will make the worst managers because they don't really know boxing. I do. So when you try to come attack me for what I'm saying, make sure you bring the right stuff. Okay. A multi-belt system, while confusing some fans, allows for more dynamic divisions and greater access to fighters. See? You see this stuff? I know what I'm talking about. The debate ultimately balanced clarity for fans versus opportunities and fairness for fighters, for boxers. Let me stop saying fighters, for boxers. Today, I'm breaking down all the belts in boxing, from major world titles to the regional straps that help fighters climb the rankings. The Big Four, excuse me, the Big Four world titles. These are the belts everybody recognizes as the world championships, as the true world championships. The WBC, World Boxing Council, the WBA, World Boxing Association, IBF, International Boxing Federation, IBO, World Boxing Organization, the Ring Magazine Championship. That's its like own title by itself. This isn't a sanctioning belt, but it's respected as the division real championship when number one fights number two. The IBO, the International Boxing Organization, isn't part of the Big Four, but a lot of top fighters have held it, and it has decent mathematical rankings. Secondary world titles. These are the belts you see underneath the main championship level. They help fighters get closer to mandatory status. And that's the word I was looking for earlier. Mandatory status. That's going to be hard for you to get when you're a boxer ranked 100 and you got 10 to 15 knockouts, but there's more advanced boxers that's up there. See, with Moses, I don't want to butcher his last name, but y'all know I'm talking about the heavyweight. He has good promotions. He has good people behind him, so that pushed him up. There's probably boxers that have better records and everything, but they pushed him up. They made him visual. People don't understand that. These are the belts you see underneath the main championship level. They help fighters get closer to mandatory status. WBC Silver, the Interim, and the Diamond belt. WBA Regular and Interim. The WBO International and Global. The IBF Interim, when they use it. They can use that. And I think they recently used that. Then you got the regional titles. I always thought of this as amateur because that's stuff that we got in the amateurs. I want regional titles and the amateurs. These are the stepping stones. Win these and you move up the ranking. WBC Continental Americas, NABF, USNBC, and International. WBA, International, Intercontinental and International. IBF, North America and Pan Pacific. WBO, Intercontinental, Asia Pacific, Latino, and European. Smaller organizations not usually counted as true world titles, but they still are active around the world. You got the WBF, WBU, IBA, UBO, and others. So to wrap this up, so in short, the Big Four run the world title scene. The Ring Magazine belt crowns a true champion. The IBO sits in the middle, and the secondary and regional belts are what fighters use to climb the ladder towards the top of the boxing industry. Let me see. How's the show going so far, Paul? It's all right, I guess. It look like I'm gonna be getting out of here a little earlier than I usually get out. Claymont Cut predicted the future of Undisputed and early access. Yeah, he did. He saw what a lot of us saw. I saw that this game was going to do bad, and I kind of take responsibility for like putting putting Will and Ash on Ash radar. Kenisi said he is smart. Yeah, Dad, I gotta. Let me read one of my wish lists. Let me kick it off from the wish list because that's what I'm gonna do next week. I'm gonna like do it once or twice each week. Read off something from the wish list. I'm gonna kind of summarize it because these ideas are fleshed out. Oh yeah, this is one of my newer ideas. It's a sparring partner system and archetype expansion, full AI contracts and injuries and gym wars. I know when y'all hear the word gym wars, y'all overthinking it. It's not this gym fighting against another gym. No, that's not what gym wars is. Gym wars when you got a fighter. This is how a lot of Philly fighters are. You're not really they when they're sparring, they're fighting. It's a lot of people that got knocked out in sparring. And they messed them up. A lot of people they got messed up more in sparring than they did in actual fights. Those are the wars. I remember they talk about all these different wars, like with Gerald McClellan, Tommy Hearns, all these boxers, they had gym wars. In the gym, they have another star that probably come there to get some work, and they going at it. That's gym wars, not my gym fighting against your gym. Even though that's a great idea, which I got on my wish list. That's a great idea. That's not what I'm talking about. All right. Specialized, this something we don't have in the game. Specialized gym equipment and training technology for a realistic boxing game. This is my highlight philosophy. A proper simulation boxing game should feel like a hybrid of old school grit. I hate using that word hybrid, but I had to use it. A proper simulation boxing game should feel like a hybrid of old school grit, modern sports science, cutting edge fighting tech. Boxers should feel how each piece of equipment impacts. Hold up, I said that wrong. Players should feel how each piece of equipment impacts punch mechanics, facts, conditioning levels, style development. You should be able to develop your style in a boxing game. It's easy to do. Poe, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not easy. Why? Because the developers told you. It wasn't in their blueprint. It wasn't on their roadmap. Stop saying what they can't do. Why don't you challenge them? All right. Let me see. Players should feel how each punch. No. So we talking about tactical tendencies. Tactical. That's one form of tendencies. Injury risk. Coach feedback. Your coach giving you feedback. That can be implemented in the game. You can have an AI coach with lines that he said. And it's a way that you can make it more authentic and sound realistic. Like it almost sounds scary. Like, Dad, how did he know what I was doing? How can he give me advice? They can do it. They can do it. They really can. Injury risk. Camp morals. Because in camp, that's basically what I'm saying. Some people in camp, they don't do what they're supposed to do in camp. Sometimes in camp, They're disrespectful to their spawn partners and stuff like that. Always had great camps, especially when I was in Shannon Briggs camps, Ray Mercer camps. I was in so many camps. Long-term career trajectory. Your training and your training camp, that's what that's talking about. Everything should integrate with your tendency sliders, my tendency sliders. They're very deep. Boxer archetypes. It's something like meta, but it's not meta. Because the way they got in the game, you can't beat a meta. And people keep saying, well, metas are metas and you'll never be able to get around them. That's not true. Stop using words that fits fighting games for a boxing game. It's not always going to be a meta. Anything could be beat if it's put in the game right. All that meta talk is trash. That's a person that don't want to learn and they don't want the developers to think. It's trash. Let me see. Everything should integrate with fatigue models, agent and decline curves. Not extreme like they do in like Fight Night round 3, 4, and Champion. And I think in Undisputed they said you age too fast in the game. Injury and rehab systems should be integrated in the game. All right. Let me talk about equipment. I'm gonna just give y'all a little bit of this, but I'm gonna be more, give y'all a better summary next week. Equipment categories: a classic analog gear, old school essentials. The heavy bag, there should be variants of heavy bags. And what I mean by variants, standard bag. Because there could be the bag with sand in it. Then you got bags with actual clothes in it. So that's what I'm talking about. Standard bag is good for power, rhythm, technique, consistency. Then you got the wrecking ball. Short hooks, inside uppercuts, close range targeting. Then you got the water bag. That's for guys like Tyson. I used to hit the water bag, but I prefer hitting the heavy bag with sand in it. The water bag, joint friendly, force absorption, and promotes snap over brute force. Teardrop bag. A lot of people don't know what the teardrop bag is. It actually look like a teardrop. Body shot specialist. Liver, soda plexus, targeting. Then you got the heavy maul bag. It's like 100 to 200 plus. It's a power puncher, inside fighter, clinch breaking mechanics. It's a big old bag that you practice certain things on. Your power punching, your inside fighting, your clinching and breaking on the clinch. You hear that? When you're breaking on the clinch, like if y'all agree, if the referee say break and y'all don't throw the punches, that's on y'all. But it's a lot of people like they, fighting in the clinches, different things. What the game tracks: power transfer, punch sequencing, tempo, shot selection tendencies, defensive reset after combinations. Exactly. Defensive resets. I got all this stuff covered. I'm not going to read too much because it's a long list, and I know I don't want to bore y'all. Let me see what y'all saying in here because I might be able to get out a little earlier than I usually get out. Let me see. Fact. Lamont Davis said facts. These are guys who have a gold 1 ranking who are so bad because they are not many good players. Yeah, that's true. They always, but people keep saying that no matter how the game is made, people can always find a way to cheat. I disagree with that, because if the game made right, that cheating is not gonna. It don't mean nothing. If the game is made right, and people always say, "Oh, there's always gonna be a way to cheat in the game." If the game is made right, there's not gonna be any cheating. Yeah, so shout out to everybody that showed up today. Shout out to AJ Pats, doing life things. Shout out to Leafy. Shout out to everybody that showed up. I'm gonna end the show early today, which I suppose have been doing. Um, you know, see y'all tomorrow at 6 p.m. And we got more to talk about. And then to the next show. Peace.